Valkorion has given me free reign over his child. Death is the only line I am forbidden to cross. But the last subject I brought to the chamber went mad and clawed his own eyes out. I must recalibrate the machines before I use them on Vaylin. She must learn that defiance has consequences. Isolation, fear, pain. I thought Vaylin would scream or cry, maybe even beg for mercy. But when the pain from the machines became too much to bear, she started laughing. A hideous, high-pitched cackle. The glorious sound of her spirit breaking.
Sanity is a prison. Let madness release you.
Kneel before the dragon of Zakul. Did you think I locked you away to punish you? No. You had to learn. You had to be conditioned. Kneel before the dragon of Zakul.
I will not die here now! Not in this place!
If you fight, you will die.
Sometime after Revan faced the Emperor on Dromund Kars, or perhaps even before that, the Sith Emperor had travelled into wild space and discovered new worlds and new superweapons. Using the technology of Iokath and the mysterious Eternal Fleet which laid in slumber, the Sith Emperor was able to establish a new civilization on the world of Zakul. Here he built his new society in secret, where for centuries he would be revered as their Immortal Emperor. For many centuries the Emperor managed both the Empire and Zakul with great efficiency. It wasn't until the birth of his children when he became distracted with a new experiment, a family. It's a well-known fact that after the Treaty of Coruscant, the Emperor went silent. This is very likely the time the Emperor decided to abandon his empire and focus his efforts on Zakul. Valkorion had married one of his knights who once stood guard for him. This was Senya Taral. Together they had 3 children, 2 twin sons and 1 daughter, Vaylin. We do not know the exact date of birth for Vaylin, but we can assume her rough age as she is young throughout the story. In the beginning, Valkorion had sensed that his daughter Vaylin had great potential with the Force. She was a well waiting to be tapped. However, as Vaylin grew older, her emotions and tantrums became harder to control. She once killed a Zakulan knight in reaction to a dispute over a small playing ball. As we know from the CGI trailer, Vaylin had another incident involving Zakul knights, which ultimately led to Valkorion intervening with her power. In reality, her father had seen himself in Vaylin, young, teeming with power and ambitious. It frightened him. He knew where this path would lead, and steps had to be taken to prevent Vaylin from challenging his power. Vaylin had actually inherited many of her father's Force abilities, a fact she would later discover. However, it's more than likely that Valkorion sensed she had this deep connection. He knew how much to fear her and how to move forward. Her mother, Senya, had spent Vaylin's younger years trying to teach her control and peace. When Valkorion took over with her training, She thought that things would get better. However, Valkorion took Vaylin to the world of Nathema, the same world he consumed a millennia ago. On this world, Vaylin wouldn't be able to draw on the Force, and her mind would be attacked from the presence of the Void. Of course, her father shielded her and his minions from this, yet the longer-lasting effects would inevitably draw near. To explain, Vaylin basically grew from a young girl to a grown woman while being on Nathema. This alone would be enough to send the most powerful of the Force users into madness. This absolutely contributed to her personality festering with madness. Her mother Senya did once attempt to rescue Vaylin from her incarceration, but she ultimately failed. Furthermore, it was already too late. Vaylin had already grown to despise her mother for abandoning her the first time, despite her mother not knowing the full truth behind the facility on Nathema. The reality was, Vaylin was subjected to cruel and vile experiments by the keepers of the facility. Many journals and holo recordings explain some of her time there.
Valkorion has given me free reign over his child. Death is the only line I am forbidden to cross. Fortunately, he has provided numerous subjects to test my more radical experiments on first. The beasts ripped a young man apart. He died screaming in front of Vaylin, but she made no move to help. Things are progressing well. I made Vaylin observe our dissections today. Showed her each twisted, broken corpse from every failed experiment. I let her see the damage caused by the implants and chemicals. Now she knows what lies ahead. Vaylin killed another keeper today. She must learn that defiance has consequences. Isolation, fear, pain. Sometimes the simplest tools are the most effective. Conventional methods only go so far. But the last subject I brought to the chamber went mad and clawed his own eyes out. I must recalibrate the machines before I use them on Vaylin.
Vaylin went from a luxury skyscraper home with a beautiful garden to suddenly living in a small cage protected by a shield. A torture chair laid not even 20 feet away from her room. There was often people observing her while she slept or just played with hand-carved toys. Part of her punishment for lashing out against the keepers was isolation. She had no social interaction other than the scientists and guides that came to poke and prod at her. She lived a truly sad life. Valkorion had over time managed to condition Vaylin's mind and locking away a good portion of her power, meaning she would now always have a ceiling limit that couldn't be broken. Even with this conditioning in place, Vaylin was very powerful still and had to remain on Nathema to undergo strict discipline routines until she came of age. On rare occasion, her brother Fexen would come to visit her on Nathema. However, when the time came for her to return home, Valkorion sent her brother Arkan to retrieve her rather than Fexen. We do not know why. When Vaylin returns to Zakul for the first time in years, she kneels before her father and swears loyalty to him. However, her true ambitions lied in that of revenge. Revenge against her mother for leaving her and against her father for mistreating her. For now, she would bide her time and allow her power to grow. She even went on to form a stronger bond with her brothers. Eventually, the Eternal Raids take place, and the story of the Knights of the Fallen Empire begin. Vaylin is roughly 21 at the start of this. However, there is a 5-year time skip during the game, which means she is actually 26 for most of the story now. During Knights of the Fallen Empire, Vaylin takes the position of High Justice. This was right after the Outlander, or Arkan, destroys Valkorion's body near the throne. While her brother assumed the mantle of Emperor, Vaylin led the charge with the Horizon Guard section of the military. This was due mostly to the fact that she very much disliked the Zakulan Knights and didn't want to work with them. In fact, she would often be seen abusing the Knights yet again and killing them on a whim. Knowing that her father's body was destroyed now, Vaylin focused her efforts on revenge against her mother. Eventually, the two of them get to face off on the hideout known as Asylum.
I don't want to hurt you!
I liked you better when you were dead.
Despite being less powerful in the Force, Senya was able to overwhelm Vaylin with her experience in combat. Hand-to-hand combat was always Vaylin's weakness, but she would always attempt it anyways. If she used her power in the Force to attack instead, it would have been different. For now, Senya escapes and Vaylin loses this round. Over the next year, the Outlander faces Arkan on his flagship and defeats him. Vaylin tried to intercept Senya once again here, however, her brother Arkan had defended Senya.
Why? Why?
Vaylin, there's hope for you. For both of you. Come with me.
Vaylin!
This outraged Vaylin and caused her to now hate her brother for switching his loyalties and betraying her revenge. Senya and Arkan both escaped, but Vaylin wasn't far behind them. The Scions of Zakul had reached out to Senya and told her to go to Ord Mantell, which is where she would find allies. However, Vaylin managed to get there first and slaughter everyone loyal to Senya before she arrived. In the CGI trailer for Betrayed, we see Senya walking over the bodies and then Vaylin throws the hand-carved toy into a nearby puddle of starship fuel. After the trailer ends, the fight actually continues. You can check out this video for a full rundown of the aftermath here. The fight was cut short when Vaylin threw Senya's lightsaber pike into a hyperdrive engine and it exploded. Vaylin actually shielded Senya from the blast and allowed her to live. But Vaylin herself was wounded and retreated to heal. With Arkan and her father now gone, Vaylin was now Empress of Zakul and ruler of the Eternal Fleet. At the time, she was aided by the Gemini droid Scorpio, who helped command the fleet with her superior technology. Vaylin later used the might of the Eternal Fleet to cause chaos across the galaxy. As she continued her hunt for the Outlander and her mother, she also knew she needed a way to rid her father's spirit forever. By now, she thought she would be powerful enough to face him, but she would soon learn this was not the case yet. During Vaylin and the Outlanders meeting on the gravestone sometime later, Valkorion appears and demonstrates Vaylin's conditioning. Along with sealing some of her power away, Valkorion was able to subjugate her mind with the mere mention of a phrase.
Kneel before the dragon of Zakul.
No! Oh, that's not!
Did you think I locked you away to punish you? No. You had to learn. You had to be conditioned. Kneel before the dragon of Zakul.
What did you do to me?
If you fight, you will die.
This conditioning caused Vaylin to feel immeasurable pain. The more she fought it, the more it would hurt, and it would even kill her if she resisted too much. She was forced to flee the battle. Of course, Vaylin was not happy about the revelation of her conditioning. With her new command as Empress, she was able to revisit the Nathema Keepers and instruct them to undo whatever her father had done. They had told her it was possible, but the process could kill her. Eventually, the machinery and other necessary preparations had been made. Vaylin had to interact with a Grand Force-imbued machine that would remove her mental barrier and allow her to tap into all the power she had stored within. The process became dangerous, and Vaylin was shrieking in pain. She even calls out for help. She realizes only she can get herself out of this and is then able to take control of her power. Vaylin's power boils over and explodes in waves throughout the facility. Her chains were broken. Once she was safe aboard her ship, she used her new strength to force the facility to explode from within, leaving nothing but ashes, a destructive end for the location that caused her so much suffering. Vaylin goes on to rampage across the world of Odessan, which is also the location of her final stand against the Outlander.
I have no more power over Vaylin. Only you are strong enough to stop this.
The eternal throne is mine!
Forget the throne. Forget everything.
Despite breaking her chains and becoming more powerful, Vaylin was not able to defeat the Outlander, and she falls in battle. Her essence explodes and her spirit is consumed, along with her power, into Valkorion. The truth of the matter is, Valkorion intended on using Vaylin's power to help him conquer the Outlander's mind. When Valkorion's final face-off happens from within the holocron, all his children and even Senya show up to finish him off. Vaylin even had the chance to cite her conditioning phrase to her father.
Look at your father, Vaylin, trapped in the cage he built for you.
Kneel, father! Kneel before the Dragon of Zakul!
After Valkorion's defeat here, Vaylin's spirit is not destroyed. In fact, she is able to once again materialize within the mind of Satil Shan so she may help defeat her father's true identity, Tenebrae. While she does aid in his ultimate defeat, Vaylin actually escaped the mind realm by invading the body of a nearby Padawan. This is yet to be confirmed, but as Valkorion himself once said, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to check out my Explained playlist, and may the Force be with you.